I'm also very ashamed, a bit nervous, because it seems on the program that everyone else has done something marvelous and remarkably something very big. But I am just a teacher, just a normal Finnish teacher. And, well, I'm here to talk to you about Finland and the new curriculum we have. And you have maybe seen the headlines that we are supposed to give up all the subjects we have, but we are not. Actually, when I was talking about 20 minutes, that's not too long, but when I was having my education at the University of Helsinki at teacher department, I was told that a teacher who has only 45 minutes to work with children never ever speaks 20 minutes. So I won't talk that long, I hope. The topic of this whole conference is uncertainty. And that is one thing that I'm very certain, that the whole world is rapidly changing. And we need to be guiding our children, because the children we educate now, the teachers who educate my 5 children, they don't know what kind of world they will educate my children. And I have the feeling, exactly the same feeling with my students that I teach. I don't know what kind of future they will have, but I want to prepare them for that. So, as you saw, Finland is in a very tricky situation in that world map. You see, we have been under Swedish control for over 800 years, and after Sweden, the Russian came and took our independence. So we're autonomical for like 50 years, and after that, 1917, we got our independence. I come from independent school, a private school, which is very, very rare in Finland. But in Finland, we're not supposed to collect any money, even though that we are private school. My school is different if you compare it to other schools in Finland, because at the same building, we have primary school, we have secondary school, we have upper secondary school, and we have IB section. So that is a big school. And for me, it is a great privilege to be a teacher in a school like that, because I am able to see the little child's path from the very beginning to the very end at school. So 10 years of school, that's amazing. Finland is a very, as you saw, it's a big country, but we only have like 5 million people. We have 2 official languages, Finnish and Swedish because of that 800 years of having their government governing us. And we have Santa Claus. I know that many people think that they have Santa Claus, but they think we know. And there's one picture that is from our summer house up in the north of Finland. There are like 2 million summer houses, because we Finns, we do like to be in a very calm atmosphere alone. So if you think of that presentation, we had like 1 habitant in 6 square kilometers. That's true. And in summertime, I prefer that there's like 1 in 100 square meters. Well, you saw our system. Our school starts at the age of 7, and primary school teachers are responsible for primary school teaching, that means that primary school teachers, they teach every subject we have at our schools. Secondary school teachers, they are subject teachers, and subject teachers, they concentrate on each subject. But primary school teachers, in a way, we are able to work more freely because we can mix all things up, all subjects up, if we want to. And the whole system is totally free. Even the university level, it is free. So I think that we have quite high taxes in Finland because of that, because we want to provide our students a free path, education path, from the very beginning to the very end. I think that we Finns, we are quite responsible, and we are known that we are quite honest. And there's a Finnish saying that we Finns have blue eyes. I do, yes. But there's a metaphor in that, because that in other words, that means that we are honest, we are humble, we respect all the rules which are given precisely as they are written down. We are also quite shy if you compare us, for example, to Swedish people, for example, who are our neighbor countries. I know that Jeff just asked me that you must have many visitors from other countries visiting Finland. Yes, we do. And we're so ashamed of that. How come? Why are they visiting us? Is there something wrong with us? We don't have any tests. We don't compete in a way that in many countries people do compete. I know that many education systems in many countries, they rely on tests and test results, but we don't. We don't have any national tests to our primary school students, nor to our secondary school students. The only test which is taken after upper secondary school, and that is called matriculation examination. That is the only official test in whole Finland. Teachers don't compete, schools don't compete. There are no school rankings in primary or secondary schools because there's nothing to measure. But unfortunately, we have school rankings in upper levels. After matriculation examination, there are school rankings, but they are not because the teachers would like to have them. It is the media who puts schools in certain, position. But the reason why I'm here is really this. 2016, when we had our new curriculum, newspapers everywhere in the world, they have these headlines that Finland is going to get rid of all subjects, and they just do their projects all the time. They don't have their tests. They are going to do something very revolutionary big. But unfortunately, it's a misunderstanding. This is not going to happen and didn't happen. Because we still do subject teaching. We also have the transversal competences in our curriculum, and that is more or less like 21st century skills, and these skills are put in every and each subject. So when I teach a subject called Finnish and Finnish literature, I know that there are these competencies behind, and I have to keep them in my mind. We have a very, very large curriculum is like 500-600 pages. And when we were making it, we asked many opinions from parents, from students themselves, from teachers, from stakeholders, etc. So it's a combination of each agents, really. This is something that you saw already, didn't you? So no national test, except the one and only test after upper secondary school. But the things that have changed is the forms of evaluation. Before, there was only evaluations made by teacher, but nowadays we want everyone to learn how to evaluate themselves, how to work together and then evaluate the work we did together. And if you think of assessment or evaluation, the point of evaluation is to make the child grow and find out what's good in her or his work. I, as a teacher, I give my evaluation, my feedback, not only once in a year, but during my lessons. And I know that there are many, the feedback is not always verbal. There are researches that show that even touch can be very, very powerful feedback. And I believe in that. Even though that we have technology, I believe in human, in that point, that there has to be a teacher who is able to see the child, who is able to touch the child. I know that there are many countries in which, for example, in England, my colleagues are not able to touch their children. And I think that's not right. So there are my students walking. We are in a forest, having a school day in a forest. And that is also something that I am able to evaluate, because now I can see how they work in circumstances like that. And in that forest, I was able to teach how different animals survive even though it is winter. So that's biology. It takes time to walk. How many minutes? That's math. They are going to present something. They are going to take photos on that trip, and they are going to present that to the audience. And that is also, that's Finnish, that's literature. So that is how we teachers in Finland do when we mix all the subjects. You saw this already. So we have religion, but our religion is Lutheran religion, and the ones who belong to church, they are able to take religion. The ones who doesn't belong to church, they are able to choose whether they want to study ethics or religion. But in religion, we are not, as teachers, we are not supposed to push our children to a certain faith. We are supposed to open the doors and see and show them what's there. Okay, this is something that you saw already, and this as well. But if you ask any student, do you like school food? They would reply, no, but they still eat it. But that is also a very Finnish way, because you're not supposed to show that you're happy. You're not supposed to show that you're miserable. you're supposed to be cool. As we all know, comparing different education systems, it's quite hard. And that is because every country, every unique country in this world, they have their own values. And to be honest, in Finland, our school, my school, also has values because our new curriculum demands that every school in my country, they have to have a conversation, a discussion. What makes this school good? And why is it important for us? And what are the values we want to respect? And for example, my school values are respect, trust, growing as a human being. And for me, I can sign these values. Teachers' education in Finland is very high level. In Finland, it is harder to get a university place to become a teacher than it is to become a lawyer or a doctor. So it's very, very hard to get into the university. I have obtained my master's degree like anyone in primary or secondary school. Because I'm a primary and secondary school teacher, I teach Finnish and Finnish literature in secondary school. That means that I had to obtain another degree from the university. My master's degree wasn't enough for giving subject teaching. So I then had to take a BA from the university as well. Secondary school teachers, they have their master's degrees in their own subject. And kindergarten teacher, every kindergarten teacher in Finland, they have their BAs in early childhood education. So every teacher in Finland is very highly educated. So how we work then? We work like 18 to 24 hours per week, plus extra hours. For example, I have a class of my own, which means I'm a third grade teacher, but I'm a subject teacher for 6th and 9th grade students. I work like 26 hours per week. And that is the amount of lessons I have to be at school. But after that, I can do my preparation, I can do my planning at work if I prefer to. But I can do that with my colleagues. And nowadays, more and more, even Finnish teachers do collaborate. That didn't happen very much, didn't happen very often during the last curriculum we had. But to be honest, it's very odd that we talk about the revolution of new curriculum, because we tend to change our curriculum in every time. The old one was only 10 years old. So why to move? Why to move on? It is the same question as what is the purpose of life? To move on, not to stay, to move on. And why is that? Because the world is so rapidly changing. And so we have to work to get our students to understand and get prepared. So, oh, this is shocking. Is it? We're not so keen on PISA results, really. So, first PISA results we got was shocking. Oh, are we in some kind of competition? What kind of competition? Are there any other countries? Oh, just one country. Is that our country? Oh, where are we? Oh, on top. How shameful. Because now everyone talks about us. But you see, and something has happened. because the results are collapsing. It is not because of the new curriculum we have. It is about the world, and because the testing is, I don't know, is it old-fashioned? Because the world is different now. So the role of teachers, it is totally different if you compare it what it was and what it's now. More or less, nowadays, I'm like a facilitator or mentor, guide, who leads my children to future. And students' role as well. Students must be active as well. They have to be engaged with their own learning, not to learn from by heart, but to learn for their lives. This is what we have to do. Every school in Finland has to do multidisciplinary learning modules once or twice in a year. And this is one of examples I did with my students. So there's a short film I would like you to see. Is it possible to? Okay. We have this. Okay, good. So that was my example of one phenomenal approach. We had a marvelous project, Facebook project, with Senior House, with Comic Center Finland, and my students. And we all three instances worked together, and we had a marvelous project, a phenomenon, time, talent, age, and me. In this project, we all were agents and engaged to one goal, and that was to make a good connection and good relationship between my school and the Comic Center, and especially with Senior House, because the conversations my students and the 90-year-old granddads and grandfathers had, they were amazing, and they taught my students better than I could ever have done. So is everyone happy now in Finland? Well, we have a great discussion on future, where to go, and not all of us is happy with the change which happened during the new curriculum, not of course. But these are the skills that our children need, because who would hire a person who can't cooperate, who can't do teamwork? And that is something that you have to learn. And school is one place to learn it. If you want to do something like a revolution in curriculum, these are the ones that you have to have. And I would like to put some more. Hope, love, anything can happen. Let me end my presentation to a Finnish writer's words. Tove Jansson is a very philosophical writer. One of the characters in Moominland, Midwinter, says, "All things are so very uncertain, and that's exactly what makes me feel reassured." And that's it. Thank you.